My Maketen has been known for all the wrong reasons, but she is one of the strongest lady that I know. Her story is very inspirational. Mushure mekunge vaita fallout namaititi paka expose kwa kunze iwe mai vako vakafa vachita zvechihure baba vako vakazodai vakadai hauzivi baba vako this and that, and she actually wrote a story explaining how she grew up. Welcome back to your channel. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. I actually understand her anoita emotional panozotaurwa nyaya yevabereki vake makuriro ake musikana akanga asina kumira mushe. So take a moment to just pause a bit kubva mudrama recat family mu whatever bitterness this and that timbotaura zvinhu zviri constructive. Okay guys, so I'm going to just go through your story, then do leave your comments kuti me muchifunga chi panyaya iyi. I was raised by my stepfather till the age of 9, and Gogo took care of me till I got married. I don't know biological father's love, and I've been trying to get close to my father, but I'm failing. I need help and counseling. I really wish I could spoil him and do the most for him because I can afford, but Makwikwi, I've decided to go the DNA route. Maybe it will give me a bit of attachment if I'm really sure that he is indeed my father. So this is my story. My mother got married to my stepfather when I was a baby. This man took me as his own child and got me a birth certificate in his name. Bless him. Rest in power, Daddy. He was a soldier and had obtained a house in a military camp called Inkomo Barracks. My mom's marriage was short-lived, as my mother died a few years into the marriage. She was only 27. I never knew the man I called dad was not my biological father until one day. I still remember vividly. I was escorting my mom to the barracks clinic, carrying my baby brother on my back as she was too weak to carry him. I was 8. My father was away on duty in Mozambique. This is the day I will never forget. My mother couldn't walk. She would try 2 or 3 steps and sit down as she was feeling very weak and sick. When we were halfway through, Mom sat down again, and this time she couldn't stand up anymore. She then said to me, Memo mwanangu, ndakufa. Chirwere chandinacho ichi hachirapiki. Ndoda kuti usare uri mwana anoteerera, uchengete vana vamai vako. We sat there for a little while. Then my mom asked me to put the baby down so that we could rest a little longer. She then said, Mwanangu, ndoda kukuudza secret. Usaudze chero ani kana ani zvake. Ukangoudza vanhu unochekwa musoro nebanga. Dedhi vatinogara navo havasirivo baba vako chaivo. Ava ndibaba vaShepi naTendai. But kana wakura gogo vachakuudza zvese. This didn't make sense to me at this time. I didn't understand. I was confused. I just said, okay, mama, but with a lot of unanswered questions. Plus with the fear, yekuchekwa musoro andina wandakaudza. After a few minutes, she pointed at houses that were nearby and said, Mwanangu, manya padzimba idzo, unokumbira mvura, ndinwe mapiritse ndiwane simba. Ndakamanya bedwe, and I got to one house and saw a lady whilst breathing heavily. I said, may I have some water? My mom wants to drink her medication. She can't walk. That woman did not think twice. She quickly took 2 liters of water and a tumbler and said, let's go to your mom. I got a great relief that at least my mom will take her medication. We will get to the clinic soon. Little did I know. We got there. And there was a man who had stopped by, as this was a dust road that people used often. I said, Ndauya nemvura mama. She was lying facing the ground mumahuswa way. Then this man said, Ndatovapa mvura. Saka vanhu vamapiritsi vakuda kumborara. Chitora mwana muende kumba muvaigire blanket. Ndikati, handidi kusiya mama. My baby brother was just on the very same position. He was not a very active baby, as he was not very healthy. Mom was no longer talking, and that woman concurred with the man and repeatedly said, carry the baby home. Mom wants to rest a little. We will carry mom to the clinic. Don't worry. I carried my baby brother on my back, but I refused to go. I insisted on staying because I wanted to see my mom taking a medication. I started crying, Dichete. I don't want to go home. Crying on top of my voice. Then my baby brother started crying too. Ish, this part is very painful. I didn't know what to do. Tears are running down my cheeks. Imagine an 8-year-old trying to stop a baby from crying for breast milk while his mom is lying helplessly. My baby brother was also sick and started crying even more. The lady tried to take him, but he refused to be held by her. Meanwhile, the gentleman had left. He had gone to fetch a wheelbarrow to carry mom to the hospital. A moment later, I saw him running, pushing the wheelbarrow as fast as he could. Bless him. He got there and quickly lifted my mom single-handedly and started pushing her, rushing towards the clinic. I I so much wanted to see what will happen to my mom, as I was very desperate to see her. That moment, things were everywhere. Baby's bottle, his baking towel, mom's bag. I only managed to put my baby brother on my back, left the bag and bottle, then tried to run after the man who was pushing mom in the wheelbarrow. Unfortunately, I couldn't catch him, but I managed to get to the clinic. The man saw me and called me to tell the hospital staff my dad's name so that they could check my mom's details. I then told them my stepfather's name and surname. They started checking details. Mom was being attended. Few minutes later, an ambulance came and my mom was ferried to another hospital. I was now forced to go back home with my baby brother. Meanwhile, my other brother was at school. He was in grade 2. Remember, my stepdad was away in Mozambique on duty. I was escorted back home and I insisted we use the dust road as I had left my mom's bag and my baby brother's bottle. We did pass through and saw the staff there. Mind you, this was a military camp, so there was not too much theft there. My baby brother had fallen asleep on my back. We got home and the escort returned to their station. We lived on a flat, the second floor. I shouted out my other brother's name, Shepherd, come help me carry the stuff, as I couldn't go up the stairs with the baby's bag. He came down. His first question was, Mama vari kupi? I replied, Vaenda ku clinic vari kuyama usiku, because this is the information that I was given at the clinic. Poor me. Little did I know. We got in the house. This was now the three of us. Me, 8 years old, Shepherd, 6 years, and Tendai, 18 months. But he looked like 10 months due to sickness. That's the day I became a deputy parent at 8. I then started fixing food for my brother, and my baby brother was very, very sick. We would hear him cry at night with mom, but this night I had to face it myself. I finished preparing something to eat, then we went to sleep. I did not even close my eyes that night. Till the next day, my baby brother was very sick. He cried the whole night. The next day, I prepared for my brother to go to school. Then I carried my baby brother to escort Shepherd to school. I also wanted to inform my teacher about the current situation and excuse myself from school because I didn't have anyone to leave my baby brother with at home. My teacher said it's okay. I went back weeping till I got home. Our school was a walking distance within the camp. It's called Wanpara Primary School. Those who attended school during my time know my story. I was a very intelligent child in school. I used to participate in a lot of sports at school, so the school needed me too. But at this point, I chose my family over school. Meanwhile, in Harare, Gogo was informed about my mom's admission and they started making regular visits as I stay in Highfield, very close to the hospital. I missed school for 2 days. Then the third day, my mom's sister came to stay with us since we were home alone. I got a bit of relief since I could now go to school. My stepfather was given a special release from duty in Mozambique as my mom's health had deteriorated quickly. Week later, I saw people coming home with bags and blankets. The first people I saw, I thought they had come to stay with us since mom is in bank. Little did I know they were actually coming for my mom's funeral. This was the darkest day of my life. Later that day, my gogo came and started crying, weeping. I heard a voice saying, Abigail Roiwe, what did you kone vana vako apa? Gogo entered the house. When she saw me, she cried and wept even more. That's when I realized that it is finished. Mom is no more. My stepfather came in and took the three of us, hugged us so tight. I remember him saying, "Ndichakuchengetai vanangu." Fast forward, after my mom's funeral, I overheard Gogo saying to my stepfather, "Zvazvadai, memory ndakumutora ndiende naye." My stepfather refused, saying, "Memory is my child. I will stay with her till my last breath." I remember they started arguing about this issue, and it prolonged till my aunt told us, the kids, to go out and play outside. I'm sure so that we won't hear the quarrel. Rest in perfect peace, Mom. You will forever be my mom. I salute you for not dumping me when you got married again. The quarrel took a while. Then later my aunt called us back inside. I wasn't sure of the outcome, but then 2 weeks later, Gogo left and told us, "Ndakuyenda vazukuru, ndichapota ndichiuya kuzokuonai." This was the day I felt the death of my mother. Her void was now palpable. Obviously, after this, I realized my stepdad won. He fought for my custody like his own blood. My stepdad arranged his sister's daughter, Sylvia, to come and stay, helping us with the house. Whilst waiting for Sylvia, I used to do all the chores with the help of my dad, since he was given a break from work to mourn his wife. It took weeks before Sylvia came. Then from nowhere, Dad took ill. Apa ndipo pandakazotamba unere ramanje. Dad's health drastically deteriorated and he got very sick and always sleeping. I would wake up at 5 a.m. to clean the house and fix food for my dad and my baby brother to eat for the day, as I will be at school. Around 6:30, I will wake my brother Shepherd to start preparing for school. When he is done, I will tell him to start going. Then I will follow later. I will make sure I feed my baby brother porridge before going to school. Every day I left home 5 minutes before school started, trying to spend as much time with my dad and my brother. When I got to the school, I will be in class, but my mind will be at home. I was extremely intelligent, so no matter how much I miss school, I will always be in top 3. As soon as the bell rang for break time, I was run going back home to Bath Tendai and check on them as well. Sometimes I would get and see vomit all over in my dad's room. He couldn't help himself. I would clean it first, then bath my baby brother quickly, then feed him too. Then I go back to school. I will always get to school late after break, but teachers understood my situation. After school, I'll be the first to leave class, running home to prepare dinner and see my dad and my brother. This was my routine for a while. Remember, there was a quarrel with Gogo, so Dad could not tell Gogo that we are struggling. He had hope that Sylvia would come soon. There was a neighbor called my Frank who helped us here and there. One day, Dad tried to clean his vomit and he fell down. I got back from school and saw him lying on the floor. My heart broke. I then looked for old newspapers. I gave him and told him, "If you're vomiting next time, just pull a sheet to cover on top. I will clean when I come back from school. Don't strain yourself." Fast forward, Sylvia finally came from Zishavane Rural, where she used to stay with her mom. It was great relief to me, but didn't realize that we have actually gone from the frying pan into the fire. Sylvia treated us like animals, especially me, because she rightfully knew that I wasn't their own. I suffered in her hands, and because Dad wasn't well, he spent all his time sleeping. He couldn't see anything. Yeah, this was the most painful part. We were actually doing good alone. I would sometimes think of running away, but to where? I only knew Gogo stayed in Highfield, but how to get there was difficult. One day, I decided to run away, but the barrack is very far from the main road, Chinoi Road. I was a very good athlete. Those who know me knows. I started my own race running, but when I was halfway through, I thought of my siblings. I imagined them facing Sylvia alone. My heart broke. I turned back home. That day, I got back late and was told food is finished. Where were you? I was bitten like a snake. I slept on an empty stomach. That's the day I thought I must start doing something for myself to start earning money to help my brothers. My mom was a very good braider and she would teach me here and there since I was very clever. I had grasped how to plait. I had my friend called Plucky. She's now in the States. I started plaiting her hair and gained perfection from it, and sometimes eat from her house. Plucky, if you are reading this, please testify. News went viral to say there is a girl in grade 3 who plays hair like crazy. I started getting clients, including teachers, who started supporting me just to assist. Due to length of the small treatment, I can't say everything that happened in Sylvia's hands, but just know Sylvia was evil. She used to slip out and told me not to say a word to Dad. We suffered a lot. This woman was very heartless. When Gogo visits Sylvia, when Gogo visits, Sylvia would say, if you tell Gogo anything, I will deal with you when she's gone. All this happened under my dad's nose. But at this time, he was bedridden. He would just go and see him in, we would go and see him in his room, but couldn't say much to him about the treatment we were getting from Sylvia. Meanwhile, my stepfather went in and out of hospital. Fast forward, a year plus later, my stepfather called me. I was shocked as he was no longer talking, but that day his voice was very loud and clear. In shock, I ran to his room. He then held my hand very tight and said, my princess, ndakanzwa kuti wakatora prize kuchikoro. Ndinodada newe, ramba wakadaro. Ndoda kukuudza kuti usambofa wakabvuma kuratidza kana kubatwa chinhu chako nemukomana. Wazvinzwa? He then said, go and call Shepherd and Tendai. I ran quickly and called them. And when we got back to his room, he had looked on the side and couldn't talk anymore. This was it for me in that house. Dad, you are my hero. Few men can do what you did for me. I appreciate you even in death. Continue to rest in power. My father. After his funeral, when relatives were still gathered, Gogo said, memory ndakutakura. At this point, no one argued, as it was known by everyone that I'm not one of them. It was a very heartbreaking moment for me to be separated from my siblings. Zvanhasi tombomirira pano. This is my Marketing's journey. Guys, zvinhu zvinorwadza, ndachema ndaona kuti mwana uyu went through a lot. Imagine at grade 3 uchisirwa vana vadiki kuti uvachengete, uchitanga kuplaita musoro yevanhu, like uchitoita business rekutoruka vanhu musoro at grade 3, guys. And the fact that now you are taking care of a sick man and you have been told that this is not your dad, you are still in your confusion. Mama vashaika, gogo vada kukutora, dede vamira newe, and now you are not sure, is it true kuti baba havasi vako nerudo rwavari kuramba vachikuratidza. And then comes a relative who comes in, takes advantage of the children. Yes, zvinotoratidza kuti Sylvia was not even doing enough to take care of the uncle. Guys, zvakaoma, but inyasha kuva nevabereki, guys. So she also commented, there are a lot of people that are coming through with hate comments. Vamwachiti, aiwa uri kutiudzira chinyaya chako, this and that. Okay, some people are saying sharing will make you heal. You are getting it wrong. I healed already. I have lived this life and overcame. Remember, this happened more than 30 years back. This story started when I said I'm failing to connect with my biological father. So want you to understand where the disconnection came from. Sharing it now is because I've already gone past it. I just thought of giving others hope, strength, kuti you will make it in life regardless of your upbringing. I also want to start the journey of connecting with my biological father. Okay, guys, so a biological father vakawanikwa zvavo, but it is very difficult to have a relationship. One thing, guys, that you should know is if someone did not raise you, if someone was absent mu life mako, they don't just come in nasi kana kuti tavawana kana kuti and then everything flows. No, things do not flow because you've been hurt kakawanda kuma sure uko kwese, and now there are people that raised you that you look up to, and this guy was absent all along. Saka chero kuzopinda muupenyu hwako kuti vazive kuti nhasi unoita nezvei, vana vako vari kuita nezvei, chii kupi, that guy is actually lost. Havatozivi kuti unomborarama sei. Do leave your comments on what you think. We are still going to post more on the story as the story develops, but guys, this is the most heartbreaking story that I've had. Mwana uyu went through a lot. So kureva kuti tumwe tunyanya tokuzonze kwa shamwari yangu yazotenga maketeni kuna ningi maititi vazovaka kudema. Those are small things. Ka teaspoon kuisa muwange hapana kana impact, guys. She's actually very strong.